The Ethiopian highlands, sometimes called the roof of Africa. They are a warm and rugged place. With a 1500-meter high peak, they stretch from central Ethiopia all the way to Eritrea. The slopes are fertile yet hard to farm. The climate is relatively cool, yet it could get piping hot in the summer. It was this strip of land where Kaldi, a legendary Ethiopian goat herder, supposedly roamed around during the 9th century. And though he may seem very distant to you now, his story might have changed the whole world. As on one fateful day, Kaldi noticed that when his goats were nibbling on the bright red berries of a certain bush, they jumped around in the air ecstatically, and so he chewed on the fruit himself. Astonished by the exhilarating effects of the berries, he decided to share them with an Islamic monk in a nearby Sufi monastery. But the Sufi monk disapproved of their use and threw them into a fire, from which an enticing aroma billowed. The roasted beans were quickly raked from the embers, ground up and dissolved in hot water, yielding the world's first cup of coffee. Nowadays, we know that this story was probably made up somewhere around the 17th century. The earliest credible reports of coffee drinking are set in the Arabian Peninsula during the 15th century. There, in modern-day Yemen, coffee was roasted and brewed in a similar way to how it is done today. Unlike today, however, coffee had a religious significance. It wasn't consumed by the workers as a morning pick-me-up. Instead, the local Sufis, who belonged to a mystical and spiritual branch of Islam, used coffee in order to stay awake during their religious and sometimes trance-inducing rituals. It is not exactly known how the practice of coffee brewing came to Yemen, though it is believed to have been brought there from Ethiopia by an Islamic seafarer sometime during the Middle Ages. From there, coffee was quickly introduced to the Islamic world, including North Africa, Turkey, Persia, and many more. It didn't stop there though, as the 16th century Sufi Badabudan had the bold idea to smuggle coffee seeds to India. The seeds arrived in India in 1620, and the coffee produced from these plants was shipped all over India's neighboring countries. Shortly thereafter, coffee was also introduced to Europe and the Americas by trade. It didn't take long for coffee to become widely accepted, as the first European coffee house opened in Rome in 1645. And by 1711, the Dutch East India Company began to import coffee grown in Indonesia on a truly large scale. During the late 18th century, coffee consumption declined in Great Britain, giving way to tea, while the coffee consumption in the American colonies increased. This was the result of the colonists' boycott of British trading goods, as well as trade embargoes issued by the British against the colonists. This distinction between the British and the Americans, which has remained until this day, didn't significantly hurt the popularity of coffee though. Coffee is ranked as the world's second most popular brewed beverage and is consumed by millions on a regular basis. It is only second to tea. Coffee has become a global commodity and only its name remains as a hint to its Arabic origin. The English word coffee is basically just the English version of the Dutch coffee, which was borrowed from the Turkish kava. The roots of the Turkish kava lie in the Arabic word kahwa. Furthermore, it is possible that the Arabic coffee house culture still exists nowadays in the form of Starbucks and other popular coffee shops. People don't just frequent these places for the coffee alone, but also to socialize or simply enjoy this special atmosphere. But that alone is not the reason why people all around the world regularly enjoy a cup of coffee. To truly understand the appeal of coffee, we have to look at its chemistry. Coffee is brewed from the roasted beans, which reside inside of the berries of plants from the genus Kaffa. All around the world, coffee is predominantly brewed from the beans of one of two coffee plants, Kaffa arabica and Kaffa canephora. Kaffa arabica, from which around 60% of the world's coffee is brewed, has a mild but complex flavor, in contrast to Kaffa canephora, which has a less sophisticated but stronger and heartier flavor. Kaffa canephora, also known as Kaffa robusta, is used to brew the remaining 40% of coffee consumed worldwide. Both of these plants are known to produce the psychoactive compound caffeine. In coffee plants, caffeine is primarily used as a repellent against herbivores, but humans around the world appreciate it for its stimulating and refreshing effect. Caffeine is also found in tea plants and is one of the active ingredients put into energy drinks. Incidentally, it is also possible to brew a tea with the caffeine harboring leaves of coffee plants, but so far, this practice just hasn't caught on. thank you so much for watching this far. Feel free to leave a thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments. Please subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the videos I upload twice a week. But for now, enjoy a cup of coffee or tea and have a great time.